cool. Oh, I do get a preview. Yay. But I want.
Oh, wait, what?
Um,
Oh, I can't hear you now. It's all
my
it's all.
webcam froze. That's dumb.
Oh, now I hear you. Yeah, it was like
Oh, no, it
staccato
didn't.
for a second. Of course, the minute we went live.
Of course. Oh, that's why, because it's, oh, whoops, I gotta adjust the text. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go over here, and I forgot that we have a scrolling text now, and,
Ah. Oh, you have the Texarkana up there. You know what? It happens.
yeah, I'm like, hey, let's talk about Texarkana now. Where are you? Thank you. Where are you?
Hi, hello, potato. Hi, potato.
Okay, so we are just gonna not do that.
I can. It looks so like what it looks like you're huddled in a corner. Like
I am.
I know it's so funny, and then I just hear this like rattling. It's like you're up to no good.
Oh my god. Yeah. So I set this up. I was very excited. I'm good. Like, oh, usually I put my phone to oh, but I'm
Oh, you
gonna
know
like
what? It keeps going
show
in.
the cooking because why? Well, so people like
Since we started live, it keeps going in and out your sound
me
to me. I don't know why.
to you.
Yeah. And now it's fine. Nope.
Okay.
And it's not
Trying to
like with
figure
your
out
mouth. It's
why
not
that
like
is.
it's not like syncing with your mouth.
Are you watching me in the green room?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, you know why? Because I'm sending you the sound from my computer, but my back is turned to it. So I didn't want to send the audio from my phone to the green room because I felt like it would be like super echoey. And it's not letting me mute today on my phone, so that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's amazingly fun. So I'm gonna cook chili tonight because I mentioned it and someone asked me to do it. So here I am.
And you'll be eating it. It looks like from the size of that pot, you'll be eating it for like the whole month of December.
Hands for sale. So hopefully it's gonna last me a long time. I made lentil soup in this, and I also made tomato soup, and it's so good.
Yeah. I love Panera tomato soup. I love it so much. It's my favorite. And so I've spent in my life a lot of money on it, and I'm determined to find out the recipe. And every time I make a recipe that says it's the recipe for it, it's off. It doesn't taste like it. And so like I'm on a mission. I wish Panera would just sell me. I'd be like, look, I've already spent. Hi, Harrison. Hello. I've already spent like a lifetime. Like I've already probably opened a couple stores for them. So like the least you can do is just let me know what the recipe is, because it's a bummer. Like it's a bummer.
I mean,
Harrison said that's his favorite from Panera as well.
so good. It's so good.
It's delicious.
Yeah, so the one I made was really good, and I ended up making it. I made it a little different, and I made it really spicy because I like hot sauce and everything. Oh, so good! It was so good. So this recipe that I'm gonna make, this chili, is from a website called Sugar Spun Run, and they claim that this recipe has won 20 different bake-offs.
Oh.
And that the reason for that is that there is bacon in it. So they're like, it's all about bacon. So you take 5 strips of bacon and you chop it up, and then let's turn on the Dutch oven. And then you use it like your oil. Like you cook the bacon,
Yeah.
and then you get the bacon grease, and then instead of putting in oil to saute up your vegetables and everything and your meat, you use the bacon grease. So it infuses everything. So,
Well,
bacon.
That's because I'm not like a meat eater. That's my worst nightmare.
Oh no!
But I know that everybody loves bacon and beef. So, cheers to everybody. The thing I like about the Panera recipe is that it's totally vegetarian. So, like, I'm bound. I want that recipe. I will stop at nothing to get it. Do you hear me, Panera? Nothing.
You might like the recipe that I made for tomato soup because it's also vegan. It's from a website called Cookie and Kate.
Ooh.
And instead of cream, because tomato soups, they use cream if they're not vegan,
Yeah.
it uses cannellini beans.
Oh.
To make it creamy. So, yeah. So you also get beans.
Which is healthy.
Yes.
Which is an A+.
Yes.
For my Noom that I'm on Noom, but I haven't lost any weight, of course, and I don't add my stuff in because I'm too depressed about it not working. And I get like these frantic messages every day from my Noom coach, like, "Are you okay? You can do this." And I'm like, I can't do it. I'm not losing weight. And I see the stupid commercials where everyone's like, I lost 10 pounds in one day. And I'm like,
I know.
You are liars.
I did Noom too, and I absolutely hated it. I loathed it so much.
Yep.
It triggered my disordered eating, and because it would not allow for anything except counting calories. And I would talk to my coach, and she wasn't really helpful because what can you do? Like, you can't alter the system. And then I was on it so long, and I wasn't losing weight.
Yep.
But the system doesn't adjust itself. So I was like, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks in. And they're like, congratulations, you're closer to your goal. And I'm like, no, the fuck I'm not.
Yeah, nope, not even a little bit. But thank you, Noom, for nothing. Thank you for your expensive nothing. Stop airing your commercials because they're like, it's so easy. You don't have to change, but it's a lie because you literally have to change your whole life and start liking to eat things you don't like. Problem all along, like I don't,
So I don't think that that's true. But it's not. I did like the recipes that Noom does.
Yeah.
They're really good recipes.
I'm not gonna. My problem is I cannot. Cooking for me is a trigger. I can't do it. It gives me anxiety. It makes me stressed out. I like it's so. By the time I finish making whatever it is, I don't even want it. I'm not hungry. Like
Wow.
it's such a trigger for me. And I used to cook all the time, but blah blah blah. But yeah, that's my problem. I think I have to. I think I probably just need to see a nutritionist and I have to just be real. Like I am never going to, oh, thanks for subscribing at tier 1.
Oh, who was subscribed?
Harrison.
Oh, babe, you already subscribed.
Oh,
or did you resubscribe or did it put up a notification?
Subscribe for 2 months currently at a 2-month streak.
Oh,
so it's your 2-month streak. Look at you.
We love you. Is that because I put up a 10 sub goal? Because I put up a 10 subs goal, and I would really like to get there. I think we're at 3. Thanks to Claire. Oh, we might be at 4 because someone named like Lil Miss Murder. Here I am brandishing a knife again.
That's somebody you do know.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, they also subscribed. Cool. Yeah, so I'm topping up my bacon.
I tried to talk my mom, walk my mom through it, but she couldn't figure it out on her iPad, and then it changed her crime and cookies to Spanish. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it in person.
How in the world?
I don't know.
Did you change it to Spanish?
She was like, my Spanish isn't good enough to be able to. I was like, Mom, just let it go. I was like, how did you get into Spanish? Forget it.
Your mom should be a beta tester. Because I don't know how I would figure that out at all. And your
No,
mom's
me
like,
neither.
what?
I was like, you know what? Let's just say we'll do it another time. I have no idea what you're doing. But you know, it's a little confusing if you do it free through Prime because you have to do like choose free trial and then you have to choose it again. Like you have to almost subscribe twice. So,
You have
oh, my friend is
to.
here. Yeah. So that's about it. Uh, what else did you do this week? That was
Oh, I have my voice lesson.
mhm.
Um, cooking bacon was a great idea because the sizzle is making it so easy for me to hear.
I mean, that's what people are here for, the sizzle.
The sizzle. How does it look? Oops, that looks good. Oh, I had my voice lesson today, and I hit the highest notes I have yet to date.
Ooh, nice.
Since I was in college, when I was in college, I was a full soprano,
Mm-hmm.
but I have to like get back to it. So now I finally like when I was in college, I was almost a coloratura, which is like above soprano.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, that's awesome. It's all the practicing and hard work.
yeah, and it's very fun. And my teacher's a Murderino.
Aw,
Yeah,
that's nice.
That's how I found her. She posted in one of our Facebook groups.
Oh, nice.
Students, and I was like, oh.
I had 2 doctor's appointments this week, like just routine, nothing's wrong with me. I just, because I had to reschedule from the pandemic, and because there was, a waiting, everything is so delayed that, I had 2 appointments this week. So that was not fun because I don't like going to the doctor. And then, yeah, instead of grading papers and doing things that I need to do, I've been just making art stuff because that's what you do when you're stressed out. It's just do the thing that you love to do.
Good.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's self-care, but it's not what I'm supposed to do. But after we're done, I'm going to put on Dateline. Hopefully it's new. The other night I got so mad because I was like, oh, Dateline. And I turned on and it was about the vaccine. And I was like, keep your vaccines out of my murder. This is a husband kills his wife or I'm out of here. I was like so annoyed. That happened I have like a bunch of them in the queue and there was one that was like the description was so interesting. It was like a movie set and this mom or this woman, like it seemed really, really cool. And then I turned it on and it was about Trump getting corona. And I was like, come on. Dateline, you have one job. Harrison said, can we get a live?
No one cares about it.
Harrison said, art is a therapeutic for me, which, yeah, totally. And then he said, can we get a live feed of Gina watching Dateline? Yeah. And yes, anytime you want. I do a lot of I watch it intensely, and sometimes I do a little rewinding because I missed like one word, and I'm thinking like I'm gonna figure it out, and then I'm always like, I do the same thing with Law and Order. The other night on Law and Order, they need to change it up because the crime happens, and then they interview like the 3 friends, and I was like, that's the guy, and they went through the whole thing and the whole time, and I'm like, dude, it's the first guy you talk to, and it was, and I was right, and I was just like, come on. Like this formula, you change it up. Change it up.
Well, that is actually Scooby-Doo rule. It's always the very first person. It's always the very first person that they meet in Scooby-Doo.
It was the third guy, but I just knew because the guy was so weird. I was like, you guys have a tell, and I always know who the guy is, and I'm like, or the woman, or the person. So, yeah, I'm just saying, like, as viewers, it's been long enough. Like, Scooby-Doo was on how long ago? Like, change it up. Also, they had Mariska speaking Italian in the beginning. Like, she was talking, but there was the thing that this is so not important to real life, but it's been bothering me for days because I'm like, when did she learn Italian? We didn't have this arc. Like, she speaks fluent Italian, and I didn't know till now. 20
This whole
years
time.
in. Yeah. And then the other part is that she is like best friends with this Italian like guy in like they're joking around in Italian. And I'm like who's this guy? What's the backstory? Why is she working international? Like give me all of the details because this is a huge thing I missed. And then Finn comes into the room and he's like, "Oh, you're speaking Italian?" And she's like, "Did you bug my office?" And he's like, "No, you always move your hands like that when you speak Italian." And I'm like, "How often is Mariska speaking Italian that this is like a subplot?"
Right.
I have questions.
There's like a whole arc that you missed.
Listen, I'm supposed to
It's
know
like you
everything
missed an
about
entire
her.
arc.
Yeah, I'm supposed to know something about her entire life. You cannot introduce a whole life for Mariska that I don't, or Olivia, that I don't know about.
We thought we knew her, and we were
I
wrong.
don't know her at all.
Well, isn't that good though? Like all these years into your relationship, you're still discovering new things about each other.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's been a long time, so I should know everything. Harrison said, and I did know this, that Mariska is Jane Mansfield's daughter, and that she was in the car the night her mom died. I did know that. Yeah, I'm a hardcore fan.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. That's a true crime that we should do.
Yeah.
You know what we could do for subs only content? We could do Gina live reacts to Dateline.
Yeah.
Like
and or Law and Order.
Right?
Wait, what'd you say?
And or Law and Order.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. You're breaking up for me. Say it one more time.
I'm sorry. So we can't like air it along to watch it through the channel, but we can have it on.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically how all of sports works. You just have it on, and then we're watching it and reacting to it.
Yeah, just talking
about. And then
about.
you would also, and then whoever's watching can also like pull up that episode, however.
Yeah. Because I that's my show. That's my jam. Like at night when I'm tired, I put on Dateline and I just like zone out to it. Like it's like an old episode I usually put on and just zone out to it because I'm like tired and I need to sleep to murder. I need to get drowsy to murder. If I have a problem.
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh, when I was at the dentist yesterday, so I had to have a tooth drip. I had to have a tooth drilled, and I know I didn't want to admit that, but I did. Anyway, so I brought my headphone. I have headphones, and they are like this big, but I can't wear AirPods. They hurt my ears, so I have to wear these big mamma jammas.
Yeah,
and they're Bluetooth. So I brought them. I synced it up before I left, made sure everything worked, and I went to the dentist, and they would not sync up. So I did not, and I was like ready with my Audible book, my murder book. And I was panicked. I was like in such a nervous panic because I couldn't listen to murder to calm myself down from getting my tooth drilled. And then I told the lady after, she was like, "How are you doing?" And I was like, "Fine." I said, "I don't know why I'm so nervous." And she said to me, "That happens when you get older." And I was like, "Thanks for telling me I'm old." That's great. I appreciate it. Harrison said, "Gina, do you think Cheryl Crane killed her stepfather, or did Lara?" I don't know that story. Harrison, I don't know that story. I'm gonna have to read up and then tell you all the details.
Yeah.
Because I don't know it.
All right, so we're removing this utensil might not be the correct one, but we're removing the bacon and putting it on a paper towel plate. And we're going to use the grease to wrap some onions. And now I got bacon bits from a chili.
So this week, I thought you were. I'm not up on the old Hollywood stuff, but anything you want to chat about, I can get into. I like it all. This week, True Crime brought. That was it. He said, "Oh, okay, I thought you were up on old Hollywood stuff." And I'm not, because I'm a loser. This week, True Crime Garage did an episode that I wish I had thought of. They did John Lennon, the story of like not his like it's a little bit of history, but it's mostly the like his death,
Oh,
and it is so well done. I'm so jealous. I'm like, this is a great episode. So if
really?
you are like a Beatles person, John Lennon person, and they're completely honest about like who John Lennon was. Like it's not just all like he was perfect and nothing, he did nothing wrong ever. But it's really really well done, and I love John Lennon. And he actually died on my fifth birthday, so I have always like I know that means
Oh God.
nothing, but I've always been intrigued by him because of that. Because people talk about him a lot around the my birthday. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's
Woo! Almost stabbed
fascinating.
myself in the foot with a knife. Continue.
Wait, what did you say?
I almost stabbed myself in the foot with a knife.
Oh no!
I went to move something. You know when you go to move something and I knocked the knife off the counter really fast just to make sure that it didn't like hit my foot and go in.
Oh, live feed of Andrea in the
Continue, John
emergency.
Lennon.
Oh yeah. So
I'll screen it.
Harrison asked me if I'm the same age as Sean. Yes, Sean is 2 months older than me. Fun fact: his son Sean
Wow.
Lennon was October 9th, which is also John Lennon's birthday. I think it's the 9th, and I'm December 8th. So yeah, pow.
Wow.
Fun facts for later.
So I'm glad that you also know that John Lennon is problematic because I worked at a classic rock station with someone who is like a Beatles obsessive and does a show about them every week, and I don't think that he would admit that John was kind of a dick.
Yeah. He like in my
I mean,
opinion, he turned around later in life because he like not all the way because I mean, let's face it, he didn't have to, but he definitely learned some lessons from his first wife to Yoko and like and then with his second son did things a lot differently obviously, but it doesn't make him less problematic. There's problems, but it's just like the thing is it's hard for me to admit because I love the Beatles and I love John Lennon, and it's really hard when your hero or not heroes but when people you really admire and love are not great people. Like it sucks. um but I'm sure
yeah,
if you do a deep dive into
yeah,
anybody.
and it's okay to remember. Yeah, and it's okay to have a problematic
Yeah.
fave. It's okay. It's totally fine.
I think the fact that he did better for his second son, at least he tried to like change a little bit, for what it's worth, if that's even true, but at least he tried. Some people just don't ever try to be different. Um, Amanda says that she had chili for lunch. And Harrison said he had a hardcore Beatles
Ooh.
phase a few years ago. I love that. Yeah, the Beatles were always part of my life. My dad used to sing Rocky Raccoon to me when I was like a baby, like a toddler. And my grandfather always. What's funny is my grandfather loved the Beatles, and like he would be like tinkering around the house, and you'd hear him go, "She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah." And then he would just repeat that over and over again. So like, yeah, it's always like the Beatles
Oh,
have always been like the soundtrack of my life.
that's so interesting. I envy that because we didn't really listen to a lot of music in my house, and I don't. My mother doesn't like music,
Huh.
um, so it was never just like music on. And I didn't find out about the Beatles and Rolling Stones and classic rock and Queen, who I freaking love,
Mm.
until I was in like college.
Hmm.
So
That's interesting.
it was new stuff to me.
Harrison
Yeah,
says he read a book.
and I
Oh, sorry. He said, I read a book about him by Philip Norman, which was pretty good. One incident with Sean was pretty sad. Sean gave an interview to Norman recalling an account where John yelled so loudly into his ear that he was physically in pain. And now is partially deaf in one ear. Oh my God, he didn't change that much. Bad on me. I'm the jerk for not knowing that. Queen is the Bialon family band. Yeah, my mom loved Queen and would listen to it so loud in the car. Like it was like We Will Rock You basically was like her biggest jam. Like we always had Queen on as a kid. We had a record player in our living room growing up that was like always on, always in heavy rotation with stuff. But my dad was like,
I had a record player and I had my own music.
yeah.
I well, yeah, I well. So when I was growing up, we had our music that we liked, but and we didn't. I didn't really get exposed to adult music because my parents just didn't listen to music. It's so strange. But then I got to college when I discovered Queen in college. It was like meeting your soulmate because I was studying opera singing at the same time,
Oh no,
and I'm like,
sorry, Amanda got called out.
and I was like,
Out.
holy shit, this is opera. What?
Sorry. Yeah, because you sing. It's weird. Like you sing,
What?
I would think that you would grow up like with tons of music. Christmas was like the big music time in our family too. Like we loved like Bing Crosby, talk about problematic. And
I
oh,
know.
my brother said he really recently refurbished my dad's turntable. That's amazing. When my dad died, I was going to get a lot of his records, but unfortunately, I couldn't carry them on a plane because they would have all just broken. It was a huge box.
Oh,
And my dad has like the coolest vinyl, like deep cuts, like really cool stuff, hard to find stuff. And so my brother has it. But I'm glad that my brother has it because he also loves music. And so like it's not like it's just gonna
yeah.
sit there. And the fact that he refurbished dad's turntable is really awesome. Amanda got a timeout because it said that she was spamming symbols. So Amanda got a timeout from
Oh,
Nightbot.
yeah.
Uh,
Can you can you fit? Oh, I gotta turn Nightbot off. Fuck
I
that.
don't know how to do it. I'm so sorry, Amanda.
I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm leaving my beef.
Oh, Neil
I'm
Diamond
leaving
is
my beef for
still.
you.
My brother said that
Um.
my brother said my dad has a lot of Neil Diamond. I love Neil Diamond. I listen to Neil Diamond all the time. Didn't Bing? Yes, he did. No, well, I don't mean I can't. Harrison, I wasn't there, so I don't know if he beat his kids with a bag of oranges. But I've heard that. I've heard he was very abusive. Um, oh, Amanda, Andrea's
As
gonna
well.
fix it.
He was definitely abusive.
Yeah, I mean, dads and that.
I think you're back. If you um. Oh, so Harrison. It said one of my notifications that I saw is that Harrison's subscription unlocked a new emote. So
Ooh.
cool.
Yay.
So if you're a subscriber, check to see if you have new emotes, and if not, it means I get to add one.
Wait, how did
So
my I'm sorry, my brother's telling me that one of my dad's Neil Diamond albums is signed. I'm so jealous. Save it for me. I love Neil Diamond. I have a couple of like his hottest hits on my i iPod playlist, and I love like one of them I love is I Said, and I listen to it all the time in the car, and I sing loud.
that's a good one. Good. Everyone should sing loud.
And I have a
Apologies
terrible.
to my neighbor for the musical theater they get.
But you're singing well. I'm not.
Not all the time. Mostly what they hear is and then like it's not like good.
I sing.
But it's very fun.
I
It's very soothing.
I love. Yeah, it is a good. Harrison said Sweet Caroline is a good one. I love to make up songs, and Jude has that for me. Like we just make up songs, like two melodies that we know, or we made it up, and that's like what. And then one thing that I find funny that my son does is that he sings like the jingles for like what do you call it, like pharmaceutical companies, they're like, how like the commercials have songs, like he'll sing that, like I'll hear him going like, oh Zempic. Like, oh, this is so bad. He knows all the and the one for Taltz makes me cry. It's such a sad song. I can't listen to it. I start crying. I think it's like a psoriasis, and I don't even really fully understand what psoriasis is, but it's a psoriasis medication.
It's itchy skin. So now you know.
Yeah, now I know.
I used to do that when I was a kid too, because the commercials would repeat. You can know them, and I would like have the commercials memorized, and I would act along with the commercials. My parents were like, "Please stop! You are a strange child."
We probably did similar things, like, and I'm sure, I bet Harrison and Amanda might have done similar things. Like, my mom said she used to hear me like practicing, like being interviewed by Oprah Winfrey in my room. And, like, I just like, I thought I was going to be on late night for sure. And like, I was always acting things out. Yeah. And I always like to make my brother laugh. That was like one of my favorite things when I was a kid, is to make him laugh. I always like to make him laugh, and I always like to make my grandparents laugh. That was like my two favorite things when I was younger. Oh my gosh. So I've been working on my collages, and I've been doing that more than anything else. And I actually found a new direction, and I'm actually like, Harrison, I wonder if you have this, or anyone else who makes art, experience of like, I found something new by accident, and I like it better. And so like now I'm obsessed with the new thing I discovered. I don't know if anybody can relate to that.
You're not plugged. Oh. Hold on, I'm gonna dip out. My computer was not plugged in this whole time, guys. Now it's gonna get plugged in. There we go. There we go. New computer. Who dis? Okay. Back to Chile.
Hello, Bodhi. So this week somebody sent me an article, and I did read it, but there's not a whole lot of details. But I guess in Pasadena, I don't know if any of you have heard of it out there, but in Pasadena, I guess a mom and a sister killed, and like their sister, the sister daughter of this duo, her ex-boyfriend like came over to the house and was like assaulting her, and the mom and the sister killed him. But they weren't like not indicted, but arrested, because it was self-defense, or like I guess they were defending her. It was a crazy story. Not many details, because it just happened, I think, like 5 days ago. But Olivia had sent me that article. Sorry, this is like hurting my ears for some reason today. Olivia had sent me that article, and I saw it in a couple places. I thought that was interesting, but also kind of badass. Like, thank you to your family for having your back, the ultimate having your back.
Right. Yeah, I would not.
Oh, Harrison made a sale yesterday on Etsy. Woohoo!
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
We technically have a merch store. It's very, very low key, and we haven't shared it yet because we're still building it. But
yeah, I want to work on I want to work on it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it's going to be soon. Soon, coming soon. My problem is this past week, and the week after. I don't know if I talked about this already, but I'm getting so many papers, and obviously I'm doing the playing around instead of that. But I really only have like 2 weeks to get them done. Like, I have a deadline, so it's hard for me to focus on a lot of other, like, obviously I'm focusing on like 20 other things, but like if I add 21, then I'm done. So I'm trying to like get through my grading, and then I'll have like a little reprieve, because grading just gets more and more intense as the semester goes on. It starts out like low key, and then by the end you just want to die. So I'm in the place where I don't yet want to die, but
I'm glad.
I don't feel good. I like look at it. It's like when you're like, I feel like a little kid. Like I open one paper and I look at it and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like that for everyone.
Oh,
Yeah.
just give them all Fs.
Harrison said he wants to buy merch, so keep him posted. Oh, we will. Don't
Oh,
you
we
worry.
will. We will not shut up about it once it goes live.
Yeah, I know. I'll be like wearing all of it.
Yeah,
Um,
well, that's we can order samples through the store so that we can like wear them.
nice. I was thinking we should maybe see if any of our fandom, our small little fandom, even wants to like draw any art that we could potentially put on merch too. Like that could be it. Like I noticed that Jensen and Holes does that. I mean, they're much more popular than we are, but we have very creative people watching us. So,
And we will pay you.
oh yeah, that too. It's not like
Yeah.
yeah. We will steal all of your money and then
Forget your name.
and then we'll be like, who's that? Sorry, new phone.
This entire show is actually just a grift to get our. And once we get it, we're just gonna shut this whole channel down.
Andrea and I actually knew each other's children, and our one goal in life was to grift.
Yes.
And this is our very long con.
Specifically to grift intellectual property.
Specifically, right? We went into that, and also like we decided to do a show that had just a lot of preparation and work put into it because we thought we really wanted to work for our grifting. Like we didn't want it to come easy.
Gotta earn that grift. But then once it kicks in, boom.
Yeah.
Easy street.
Oh man. Yeah, so I thought that was so super interesting and glad to see that Pasadena County or whatever police didn't like were on the side of the victims.
Yeah, that's a nice change.
Yep. Doesn't happen all the time.
No, it does not. Where was I in my nonsense? Okay.
There's a couple of things that oh my gosh, did you guys hear they think they've got the guy who allegedly did it, but did you guys hear about the guy in I'm calling it a guy because that's how they've introduced it that it was a man who was trying to kidnap and was holding up people in parking garages. Did you guys see that? Did anyone see that? It was in New Jersey and it was like in New Jersey and I think in PA, but like I think it was Bucks County.
Oh wow.
But it was scary because it's like it was like apartment complexes that had parking garages and their parking garages were broken. And so this guy went in there and like I think he held up I want to say like one or two people and then the third person tried to kidnap her. And I think one of them he walked up to them and was like, "You know what this is." And I was like, that is so scary.
Right.
That is like that's next level. And I think he had something that he was using as a gun, like pointed at them. He had some sort of weapon that he was like holding against their backs. But they think they caught him. And like based on this, so there was a sketch and then the guy that they had arrested, the sketch, it looks just like him. So if it's not him, it's just super bad luck. But I'm glad that they got a suspect because that was really scary because I lived once in an apartment like that with the garage inside and you have a false sense of security in those garages because you live there and you just assume anyone in there and you have like they open with remote controls but like ours did break a couple of times because that's what happens when you have like 60 people using the same garage door opener. So, or 100, what am I saying 60? Like hundreds of people using the same garage door opener. One thing that happened to me when I lived there, and I really regret it, not doing anything about it, but it was the kind of thing where I don't know if anyone watching has experienced this, but like when something happens to you and you're the one that like you think like, oh, I'm making too big of a deal about it.
Yeah.
But, there was obviously, it was a really nice apartment complex, very nice. And they had maintenance, but maintenance had to do like a knock. Like they would give you a thing if they had to key in for something. Like they would give you a time and a date and all that. And like if there was a conflict, you had to let them know. So it was all very like above board. But one day I was getting ready to get in the shower, and sometimes this might be embarrassing, but sometimes like I get undressed and I just turn the water on and I wait for it to get hot. Like I just stand there and wait, right?
I think that we all do that.
Yeah, and sometimes I just listen to a like I'm just listening to a podcast probably, and I'm just standing there, and like the door was open. My bathroom door was like ajar, and I looked up in the mirror because I thought I saw something, and like something moved, and I like got scared. So like I right away put a towel around myself and like went out, and it turned out that the maintenance guy not only he came in, and he was like without like me giving him the okay, and was like standing there watching me,
Oh my god.
and he immediately like left when I was like he made sure to leave us like I didn't catch him, but I like caught him like steps away, if that makes sense. Like I did, like we
Yeah.
didn't see each other face to face, but and I was like so upset because I was like, if you knock and you didn't have an appointment and you knock and somebody doesn't answer, it's a lot for you to open the door, but it's a
Right.
lot for you to open the door, hear a shower, continue down the hallway, and then to look inside of the bathroom where you hear a shower on. Like I feel like he was like a peeper.
Yeah,
And
definitely creepy.
people told me that I should have called the police, but like I didn't, and now I super regret it, that I didn't take it further. But I was kind of embarrassed. Like when I contacted the management, they acted like it wasn't a big deal and it was an accident. But I guess what could they? I mean, they're probably trying to protect themselves. But I got like embarrassed for making a big deal of it. But that's when I knew I had to get out of there.
Yeah.
That's when I soon made my exit out of there.
I had a landlord who was terrible about telling me when people were coming.
No.
And one time when I was in the shower, I got a knock on the bathroom door. I lived by myself. So, and I was like, oh, okay, someone came to murder me and politely knocked on the door. Another time, and that was his mom, which was funny because she was horrified and furious at him. Because his mother was his co-property manager. She was like, I'm going to beat that boy tonight. He was a 30-year-old.
I thought you were going to say his mother was his co-pilot. Like Jesus.
Oh, God. Yeah, but the other time, I was in my underwear blow drying my hair with the bathroom door open because it's a studio apartment and a tiny bathroom. And maintenance guys that I didn't know were coming over opened the apartment door onto the street. Like, it's a studio apartment. And, like, here's the door, here's the apartment, here's the bathroom where I'm standing in my underwear. And I'm like, excuse me. And they got lip with me, which was not a good idea. And they learned very quickly that it was not. But, yeah.
Oh, my God. That
Yeah.
is disgusting.
Put this
Yeah,
away.
it's so creepy. Like, these creepy things happen, and then you think, like, but then you hear, like, then, so these creepy things happen, and you just sort of, like, brush them off or be like, maybe I'm making it too big of a deal of it. And then you hear stories happen to other people, and you're like, it could have gone so bad. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to know. Like, you think you're being, like, I always think I'm, like, making too big of a deal of things. But then you hear, like, these horror stories, and then you're like, no, maybe, like, it's because no one made a big deal that this person was, like, peeping for, a year before then they escalated, and nobody said anything because they felt stupid or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a lot of the part of the that book, The Gift of Fear, that I talk about a lot.
Yeah.
From that guy who's an expert in like dealing with stalkers and everything. He says, go with your gut. It makes you feel creepy because it is creepy. And society tells us to go along and not make a big deal out of it, but we need to get over that because that makes us unsafe.
That's so true. Like, I always think, like, when people say, like, oh, it's in your gut, I'm always like, can I trust my gut? Because my gut is filled with true crime. stuff. Like I'm reading the book I'm listening to for my story on Tuesday is terrifying. It's a terrifying story. And I forgot to set my alarm last night and I'm in bed listening to the story and I look up and I saw I didn't set the alarm and I was like scared. I was scared even to get up to do it. I was like, do I take a chance? Is this the night? Um but like yeah, like you sort of like so I'm always thinking that I'm overreacting, but I think like overreacting is sort of like what you have to do because you hear stories of like people getting out of their garage in a parking garage and somebody like attacking them. And you
Right,
think like, well, they didn't they should overreact. So like
right.
you don't know if somebody is unwell, you don't know if somebody has like bad intentions and it's hard to yeah, it's funny because like now with kids, they don't teach as much stranger danger as they do like that feeling your gut. Like, do they say like, does the person make you feel uncomfortable?
Right. Which is
For
good because it's not always strangers.
yeah, that's what it says, and it says it's good advice because there's also like adults never need help from children, which is such a good lesson
Yeah,
to teach kids that adults never really need they don't need your help.
right.
Adults you know and don't know. So yeah. But stranger danger is still necessary. It's all necessary. Trust no one. Trust no one?
Yes, that's the X Files.
Yeah. I mean, they were right all along. Who knew?
Yep.
Which yeah, so that story was wild. Whenever it's like a local story, I'm always like, oh my god, you know. But I'm glad it didn't go on and on.
So
But
I think at this
he was
point,
he was crossing the bridge, like
we put in effort. Well, I guess it's not. You got to find the parking garages that are broken.
right. What a like that again. Back to my thing. Being a criminal is so much work. It
I
is
know.
so much work.
It's like a whole another full time job.
It is. I'm so tired. Like, how? You have to be sneaky. You have to know not to leave DNA. You've got to check for broken parking garages. You have to, like, just the mental fortitude you have. And, like, forget if you're a stalker. I mean, that's like your whole life. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how people do it.
I don't know. Oh, there was a TikTok. Did you see the TikTok of the stalker?
No.
The girl. So this girl was just in her apartment recording a TikTok dance. She was shooting it on her phone,
Mm-hmm.
and a strange man she didn't know had climbed onto her balcony and was trying to break into her house. And you can
Oh,
hear her, it's terrifying. And you can hear her go, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Are we friends? We're friends. I'm coming in." And she's like, "Get out of my house." And she leaves immediately. And she's recording the whole thing with her phone in her hand. She goes to the neighbors respond. But
that is
like,
terrifying.
I know.
My God, that is so scary.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
feel I hate how unsafe the world feels sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just so hard to be a human that like I can't imagine why people are just make it so much worse for other people. Like stop doing that. Do not climb into somebody else's house. It's never
She does
okay.
not want to date you, and that is not
Yeah.
going to help.
Yeah. It's never okay to do that. Not on any level is it okay to do that.
It's just, oh my god. It's terrifying. Um,
The world is terrifying. They're showing like I guess like this is the time of year where people are like brazenly stealing packages off of other people's porches and like
oh, right.
stealing people's wallets out of their like out of the like as women leave their purses in carts and like when you're shopping you're like doing whatever
Oh, yeah.
people just like stealing your wallet out and I'm like man this sucks
You
this
just gotta keep eyes on. You gotta keep eyes on all the time. I grew up with a mother who was terrified of theft,
Mhm.
so it was always like when we went to Paris, she was told that there's a lot of pickpocketing in Paris, so she literally clutched her purse to her chest like this the entire time we were in France. She was walking around like, oh, the pickpockets. Oh my god.
The thing that's interesting about the porch pirates, as they call them, is that they don't care about the ring. Like I always thought, well, I have ring, but they don't care about ring. That doesn't
And
do
all the
anything.
ones that I've seen recently, they're not wearing masks, which,
Yeah.
come on. Like COVID, I'm just like COVID masks, not even like ski masks.
They don't even care about COVID.
It's
They're
right
stealing
there.
your stuff.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And it's just, again, it's like, why? Just everybody. It's like the rules when you were kids apply. Everybody keep your hands to yourself. Don't take something that isn't yours. Like those fundamental lessons, they do mean something.
Right.
Nobody touches anybody else. Nobody say mean things about anyone else. Share all those fundamental lessons. We forget them immediately after leaving kindergarten.
Yeah, I don't know. I went to school, a Catholic school, so I don't know how people operate with no guilt about things like that. I would never be able to live with myself. I stole a sign from my grandfather, and it still gives me like anxiety.
Oh yeah. Harrison said there was a story about a guy who went to a bank, pulled his mask down to rob the bank. That is so. His parents are like, Jesus Christ. Can you imagine being that guy's parents? You're just like, there's so many things. You robbed a bank, you pulled a mask down, like,
I know.
what a dope. If anyone's not listening, by the way, I talk about this podcast all the time, but if anyone's not listening to Dead and Gone, it's getting so good. Please go and listen to Dead and Gone. It is about, you don't even really have to like the Grateful Dead, but it helps if you do because there's a lot of like Grateful Dead. So it's about these two Grateful Dead fans who died, and the guy who was convicted of killing them perhaps did not. He was never exonerated, but he was eventually released from prison. But the story is getting so good. It's just a very well done podcast, and you're also getting not this recent episode so far, but I'm not done with it. But in most episodes, you're getting a little bit of like Grateful Dead trivia or backstory, and it's so interesting. And they pull it all. So it's two guys, and they just pull it all together. They pull it together so well. So anyway, speaking of music and murder, it's delightful. It's very good.
I do have to listen to that.
It's so well done, and I'm also listening to that Tenfold More Wicked, which I have to say it's so good. Like I really like it, but you have to like historical true crime. Like, yeah, I mean, I think you would really like it. It's shocking, and I don't always love historical true crime, but this one is very well done, very well researched, and it's really good. So I love it because I'm always catching up on my podcast, and then I'm like, where do I go?
I know. So this is in its simmer stage for half an hour, so I'm going to pour myself a beer. And I have to explain this because, okay, so these are crowlers from my neighborhood brewery, New Ridge, and I love it because they put hearts on it. But I don't know how to open this crowler, and I think when I pulled the tab off, I fucked it up. So I have to pour it with the other one attached to it. So it's going to look stupid.
My brother would know that. He was a bartender for like 100 years.
Gina's brother, how do I get this crowler open?
Joe, are you there?
Joe, help. Help, Joe. I look like a fool. Look at me. Last night when I was drinking this one and they were both full, and I was like, oh. Now
they look like what do you call them? Binoculars.
Look, I can see drunkenness.
If he's he might not be listening at the moment.
What
he said he can't see them.
Oh, hold on. How do I get this crowler open? This way. Anyhow, there was a tab, and I pulled on the tab just like, because that's what you do with a tab. And then just the tab came off. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? But no sea turtles will die because of these rings, because they're going to get thrown out with.
Well, he said he's on the phone and it's too tiny to see.
Fine. Fine. Let me look like a fool. That's fine. I won't forget that.
They look like yeah, it looks like binoculars. They look like binoculars.
It's also, I'm watching the Leah Remini Scientology series.
Oh yeah, how do you do that?
How what?
How do you do that? Go ahead, Leah Remini.
So it reminds me of the cans that they hand Scientologists when they're in auditing.
Oh yeah, when they're doing their yeah.
Confused. And I don't know if you saw, but the lid just popped off because of the suction. Ooh, crap, because of the vacuum. And I needed to get it, and I knocked over my camera. And went right into my spoon jar. Amazing. It's a new style of crowler because they're very new and they're just trying things out. So it's better in the cans because the cans leak.
I don't know. My beer days are. I never really got into beer, and now I'm not gonna get into beer now. It's too late. It's over. Beer's over for me.
Oh. I prefer wine. I drink wine more, but I was like, the other day I was like, I'm gonna order takeout beer, and then I'm gonna take the dog on a really long walk, and that's gonna be a good excuse to get beers. So
I miss having a dog to walk. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I miss it a lot. I like having that. I like having a purpose of having something like that. Bodhi said, "Shut up." Bodhi. Sorry. Sorry, Bodhi. I'm just teasing you. Yeah, there were so many true crime stories I saw this week. I saw a trailer for the HBO Max a documentary, Middle Beach. I haven't watched it yet, but I've seen the trailer for it enough times that I'm like, this is a sign that I must watch it.
Oh, that's the one I talked about, right?
That's when you talked about, exactly.
Yeah.
And then there was so I don't know if you saw The Undoing.
No. Is it great?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
People were talking about how great it was, and then people were complaining that the season finale was bad, and I feel like that's pretty much how every show goes forever. Like, nobody's ever happy with the season finale / series finale. And then what else? There was another. So it looks like Showtime has a show coming out that looks pretty good, and it's with Bryan Cranston, and he's a judge, and his son accidentally hits and runs somebody, and then his dad's like, okay, you've got to confess to this, and then on their way to confess, he realizes that his son killed this like mobster, like really bad person's kid, and so he's like, you can't confess to this. So that's like what the series is about. So I'm kind of interested to see that. I feel like I'm behind on all my watching, on all my potential topics to talk about. I did, however, watch. Hank, I got an emote gift.
Oh, yeah.
My brother was gifted a tier 1 sub to my from Harrison. That's really nice.
Oh,
Thank you, Harrison, our superest of all super fans.
Harrison is filling all our subscriber tiers just by giving people
He's
subs.
the best. What was I going to say? I was going to say something, and it was probably stupid. Watching TV. I don't remember, guys. Oh, yeah. So I watched episode 3 of Big Sky. And you know what? It's just a bad show.
Yeah.
It's just because I was like first like really into like I was like really upset by this like trans character not having background, and then I'm watching it and I'm like, holy shit, none of these characters have a personality. It's like too many characters. It's the third episode in. There should be some backstory motivation, And they
Yeah.
actually gave tiny backstory to the trans character this time. And what I realized is that she's quiet because she doesn't know if she could trust anybody yet, and that's why she's being so quiet. But
Yeah.
at the same time, she's the best character in the show because
Right.
she's the one that's sort of like she's the one that's sort of like helpful and compassionate and like checking everybody out and like figuring out what's going on kind of thing. But at the same time, besides her, everyone in this story has no personality. Like they're all interchangeable. And it's a lot of like women looking up out into the distance
Oh God. Yeah.
and stuff that I really hate. I hate it in a documentary. I hate it in a TV show. People who are just like feeling things, but never you don't know exactly because they're not saying.
Oh, so like the vow.
Yeah, that
With
whole like
someone staring at the ocean.
I'm gonna get in my car and I'm just gonna be like that, and I'm like, no, just like how about I don't know, give me anything else. Women fighting over men, no, no, thank you. Adult
Right.
women who are gorgeous and like the man is Ryan Philippe, no, sorry, not happening.
Yeah, I can't watch You on Netflix because I already know. I read the book,
Oh, okay.
so I'm like, it's basically from the perspective of a serial killer. And I was
Ooh,
like,
that's
no,
interesting.
thank you. Yeah, it's pretty.
Um, I went back in I've been going back in time when I have like when I'm all caught up on my weekly podcast to listen to true crime bullshit and his whole segment on Israel Keys. And one I noticed in the beginning when he's first talking about Israel Keys, like he asked the question and he asked it of several people. And I thought it was a good question for us, even though I think I know I could, like, as I was listening to it, I could picture your answer already. But he asked if you have, if the person he's talking to has any empathy at all for serial killers, like in that they have something in their brain that makes them that way. Um,
No.
and that's what I was like. Andrea's gonna say no, and I say no. And I usually find a way to have empathy, I think, for everybody, but I can't for serial killers.
Right. So here's my thing with that, and there are a lot of neurodiverse like people who struggle with lack of empathy or lack of social cues or and
Mhm.
you know who understand that notwithstanding you are responsible for harm that you do.
Yes.
Yeah, so and it came up with an ex-boyfriend. He had this roommate who had like he had some physical chronic pain stuff, and he
Hmm.
would just treat him like shit. Like he would treat my boyfriend like shit, like
Hmm.
physically violent and like petulant, and he would always be like, "Well, that's just how he's in a lot of pain. That's how he is." And I'm like, "No, he is not allowed to treat you like that. He is
Hmm.
allowed to be in pain without making other people be in pain."
Right.
So that's why. Like that's terrible that you feel the urge to kill people. You need to
Right.
not.
I
the
just,
part
yeah,
where
I don't, I feel, I can't, yeah, I can't abide it. Like, I can't, it's not like you have the urge to like shop or like harm
right,
yourself in some like use drugs or something like that. It's like you're actively killing and hurting other people and destroying lives. I can't, that's not a compulsion I can empathize with.
right. You can't act on it. You can't kill people. It's
Especially serial killers are so monstrous. Like they're not like regular people. It's not like they kill. I really don't have any empathy for any killer. Like I just don't. Because I think it's like one of the most awful things that you can do. And I've lived long enough to not kill somebody, and I'm
right.
glad, and I feel like it's
Wanted
completely
to.
avoidable.
You
It's
definitely wanted to. You just
yeah,
don't.
you just don't do it. I mean, I still have a lot of living left, but I can pretty much say probably not.
You know,
Uh,
if I had
but
to go, if I was forced, if
oh
someone
yeah,
held a gun to my head and was like, "You must feel empathy for one serial killer,"
yeah.
I might pick Eileen Warnos.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Maybe.
get
But
that.
only like a little bit, kind of
I
like
get
a yeah, okay, I get this, but not like that's not her fault.
yeah.
You know?
I get it. I get
Yeah.
that.
Eileen Wuornos, if you don't know, if you're watching, Charlize Theron played her in the movie and got the ugliness Oscar because when they make a
Yeah.
hot woman ugly, she wins an Oscar for
Mm-hmm.
being ugly, for daring to be ugly. But Eileen Wuornos was a sex worker who killed Johns,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so
It's complicated. I mean, I'd be willing to hear out the story for sure, and I'm definitely interested in what makes them them. Like I am curious. I'm not a super fan of theirs, but I'm definitely curious about what makes all people the way they are.
right,
Um, but and like some serial killers more than others, I find just interesting because there's something about them that's like so like they don't have any. I guess they all don't have any guilt or grief or understanding of really what they've done and who they are, and they're just awful people who are just mimicking. I think psychopaths really are scary because they really truly don't know how to be. They're just mimicking what they see in other people.
yeah,
That's what's scary about it, and that's what I find with serial killers is they're just really giving you what they think you want to hear.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he was asking that about like because he was talking about Israel Keys, and like it's funny because the people that he interviews, like the true crime fans, they all, some of them say yes, and then when he interviews like this woman who's a psychologist, like a forensic psychologist, she's like no, no
Right.
empathy. Um, as Harrison said, that's a good pick. I don't think she should have got put to death, maybe life in prison. I even the worst serial killer, I just don't believe in the death penalty. Let them just sit in jail.
Yeah. Well, I also believe in prison abolition, so we'll figure something else out for that.
I don't know. I
That'd be fun.
believe in that to a certain extent, but I honestly don't know what to do with violent people who are like violent criminals like that. I don't honestly. There's not many places because they're not going to. You're not going to rehabilitate a Ted Bundy. You're just
Right.
not.
Right. Well,
Um,
also there are people who have devoted their lives to this who have answers that I just don't know because I haven't done enough research yet. But yes, they've thought of it because the first thing everyone asks them is, "What about serial killers?" It's actually right after, "What about the rapists? Who put the rapists in jail?" And they're like, "No one ever puts rapists in jail."
no,
Like,
what do you mean?
it's the
Oh,
same
you
thing,
mean for that 5 month stint? Yeah, okay.
right? The 6 weeks for the Zoe boy.
Which I'm gonna just go out on a limb. I don't believe that violent criminals will change. I don't know. And I could be wrong. I have no basis for that. It's just in all these crimes that we see, somebody who's like truly like a rapist, a serial killer, like truly, truly malevolently violent, they don't seem to change. They just get out and do things that are worse. They just escalate.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't have the answer because I don't have the answers, but someone else who's smarter than me has the answers.
Yeah, people who are smarter than me know what to do. But I definitely, yeah, there's definitely the prison industrial complex is complicated and mostly wrong for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh. It's a fucking mess. It's so interesting too that we got on the subject because Neil sent us. Neil's not here.
I know I
So
didn't get a chance to read it yet.
that's fine because we got to save it for Tuesday to see if he comes and wants to talk about it. But about like whiteness in true crime and how the outward perception of the industry, and this I have the same problem with romance. Like the outward perception of the industry is that it's all these white ladies who comfortable white ladies who want stories that uphold the status quo, which it's the genre's fault that that's the outside perception because a lot of the time that is true.
Right.
And you got to fight against that. And you got to lift up the other things. But it was interesting to read because the author is like, yeah, true crime's full of people who cheer at prison sentences and think the cops are the good guys. And I'm like, she's never watched our shows because I definitely said defund the police out loud at least once.
Yeah.
But like true crime, if you, and I've said this before while I was doing cooking, If you're into true crime enough and you consume enough of it, and I hate to use the word consume because it's people's actual pain, it's like the wrong verb,
Yeah.
but it's kind of not. So also kind of be aware that that's the verb. If you get into enough of it, like I don't know how you don't come out the other side of believing in justice reform.
Right. Yeah, because there has to, in my opinion, there has to be some other way where you can, again, you said it perfectly. I don't know uh enough about the subject, but there
Okay.
has to be a way in which you can remove violent criminal, like people like serial killers, out of the public, out of danger. Like there are people who are going to be a danger to society no matter what they do. There has to be a system for them that doesn't punish poor people and brown people
Right.
unrelentingly for no reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? There has to be a better system, but there definitely has to be a place for people who are dangerous.
Right.
But again, I don't have the answer. My brother said, "Do you imagine a scenario where you could become a serial killer?" It's
No.
by the same rationale that I don't think someone could turn into someone who isn't one. It's like saying you can rehabilitate gay people. You can turn them straight about as easily as you could turn a straight person gay, which is to say not at all, in my opinion. Yeah. Like you are a serial killer. Do you
Right.
think
So
so? Well, you're not born a serial killer, but
well, that's a nature versus nurture question.
right.
Are you born? Are you always going to be a serial killer?
I don't
Slash,
know.
like because society doesn't, and environment and society and upbringing don't make people gay. Just
Right.
any like being gay is like me having brown hair. Um,
Mhm.
but I don't know. Genetics are weird and we don't understand them.
Yeah, I often wonder, like, are you born to be one? Or I don't often wonder, but I wonder, like, is there something that could have changed? Like, are there people who could have been a serial killer that had they had as different parents, or is it just like you were destined? Because like a lot of times you hear their backstory and you're like, well, it makes sense why they are the way they are as human beings, but the murdering
Right.
is still
At the
such a
same time, right, there are millions of people who are that way, have that life too.
who are it's such a fringe choice. It's such
Yeah.
a specific choice that I don't know. Like maybe again, I would love to know, but I don't want to know firsthand.
Don't
Like,
don't
are
scare me.
there
Don't
are
think
there
kids have head injuries too. Isn't that a
a
thing?
lot of times it's head injuries? Like with I always forget his name. Joe. His name was Joe something. The guy who killed the sex workers in Florida. He was put to death. It was the one that Harry came to, the first one that Harry came to. It was a terrible story. But
Unlike our other beautiful, lighthearted ones.
Chappaquiddick. um
Oh,
It's Harrison said, oh, my brother said, I don't think it's like I'm really into jazz lately. He said I'm really into murdering. I don't think it's a passing fad. That's true. It's
yeah,
like something in Harrison said it's like something is activated inside of them.
right,
It's a good
right.
point. Yeah,
So
you have to be a violent person. You have to I imagine that you've had violent feelings your whole life. Like don't they hurt animals as like a lot of times there's
yeah,
a pattern of like setting fires and hurting animals?
hurting animals, hurting women.
Yeah.
They say they all beat women. All mass murderers beat women.
Mm.
Um, yeah. So if there's something that unlocks, can you relock it? Is
Right.
the question. Can you? It's like pedophiles.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
they argue that it's a compulsion, it's an urge, whatever. And I'm like, I will meet you at that point, but you cannot act on it at all.
Right. Right.
And I know a lot of people
It's so
thought about
morally reprehensible that you can't do it.
right. And
Yeah.
people thought that way about being gay. I know they tried to
I
draw that line, but that's not the same line.
No,
Like
because
it's
children are not sexual, and children cannot
consent.
consent. They
Right.
cannot.
Yeah. Exactly. It's just the only people that draw that line are people who don't understand consent.
Right.
So
And also people who are pedophiles who want to make it okay. It's
right,
never
but
okay.
right. So but the same with I don't know. It's right. I don't know. So I recommend as a good place to start, and it's a very, very start. The book Our Prison's Obsolete by Angela Davis,
Mm-hmm.
which is really, really good. It's really like it goes into the history of prison and the history of punishment for crime itself, which is fascinating. It's fascinating. So like it's only modern that we've decided that the way to atone for crime is with time.
Yeah.
Basically, time pays for these harms. Um, and that's relatively new. It used to be, fines and days in the stocks and whippings, and then they were like, that's inhumane. Now we're going to give time, and we're going to give time in these prisons where
Right.
you live like a monk and be able to contemplate, because they figured if people lived like that, they would have time to contemplate, which is very nice, but not true.
If you go to Eastern State Penitentiary, actually, and you see the way that their cells are set up, they actually were set up for that. That they had like a block that was outside, and it was for contemplation. But they were essentially in what do you call it?
Solitary.
Isolation or solitary,
Yeah.
essentially, for their entire sentence.
Right. Right.
Yeah, no, it's to me,
Really
it's
monk.
not yeah. To me, it's like not the time that the people that I have a struggle with is, like I said, like rapists. I don't think that you're just going to decide to not rape. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but once a rapist, always a rapist, I think. I don't know that you can rehabilitate somebody who has that compulsion. Also, somebody who's just cannot like a serial killer or somebody who's just a violent criminal. I don't know how. I don't. You can't rehabilitate a serial killer. I just don't think you can. I don't know how well you could rehabilitate a violent criminal, like truly like a violent person who that's their compulsion. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I don't know either.
And I don't
Um,
know. I don't know. Like then again, we don't know and we can't answer it. But the question is like, what do you do? What do you do then? Like, because it's not, to me, it's not the time. It's protecting other people.
right. So that's not what prison is based on now.
Right.
And prison is based on like you pay with your time and then you get out or you don't, and
Right.
that's the thing. So yeah, so what? And again, I have not done a lot of research on this,
Mm-hmm.
so I am sure that people have the answer, and I would love to help myself and others find the people who have the answer. I have
Mm-hmm.
a lot more reading to do, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's I mean, it's not just an idea; it's a praxis. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not, people aren't like, what if we just let everyone out of jail? It's let's take this system down, which has only been a system for 100 years or so.
Yeah.
It's very recent, and we'll do something else with it.
Right.
Just like this was the something else with the other thing.
Right.
So we think that societal systems are immutable and have always been there, but
Mm-hmm.
even like the idea of policing is incredibly recent,
Yeah.
incredibly modern.
The policing as we know it. Yeah. Like we've said before, detectives weren't even police officers
Right. You'd have
back
to
in the
raise your
times.
own money and hire the Pinkertons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And policing as it is right now is a direct result of 9/11. Like police, I mean, there was always a lot of violence against vulnerable communities, but the militarization and the gear that they have and the idea that it's quote unquote war on the streets and they're the
Mm-hmm.
soldiers, that's very recent. That's post 9/11. So that's
Yeah.
only in the past 20 years.
Yep.
I cannot believe that's that long ago.
In a really good podcast I've talked about before, but a really good podcast is Serial season 3, where she goes through the Harrison said, "Look, Gina, I've been rehabilitated. I haven't committed a violent crime since Tuesday." Um,
Good for you,
um,
sweetie.
progress. Um, the but she talks about like one of the things that one of the episodes they talk about the elimination of community policing where you had a trusted, I'm sure there's complications, it's not perfect, but they said like it was, you had more trust between police and folks in a community when it was like it was the police knew everybody in that community.
Right.
So you had more of a sense of like, I know you. So like if Andrea is having an episode, I know Andrea, I know she has episodes. I'm not going to react by shooting her. If
Right.
she's having her episode, I know what to do.
Right. What was his name?
Yeah.
Walter Wallace in Philadelphia. If I'm getting his
Yes.
name wrong, I'm sorry. But and it's such a shame because his family did everything right. He was
Yep.
having an attack. He was having an attack, and he was out in the street, and the family called and asked for an ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
And the neighbors knew that this is what was going on, and they're trying to de-escalate him. And the family asked for an ambulance, I guess, to have him committed because he was a danger to himself, maybe others. They're trying to, get him. Who shows up, and this may be because quote unquote first responders, they send you who's nearest, but who shows up was the police. And over the family's objections, they shot him to death many, 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 many times.
Yes. Yep.
And there were justified uprisings after that because he should absolutely be alive. He should be alive.
Mm-hmm.
And
for sure. That's why they want to have like, the police even say it like when you hear certain say like on Small Town Dicks, they say it a lot, like responding to things like that, or like a dog being lost, like responding to every single 911 call is not the way to make the police better. Because their job is not to chase after your lost dog, and they're also not trained. Sometimes they're not trained in mental health. Like, so either you need to have the people in that job who are police officers who are just mental health care experts, or you need to hire or have a connection to social worker. You know what I mean? Like they need to do those things so that the police can do their job of going after murderers and rapists, and that they're not doing this other stuff and then shooting people.
Right.
You know.
Here's a thing that blew my mind and changed the way I thought about the abolitionist movement and like the defund movement.
Mm-hmm.
How many crimes do the police prevent?
Right.
And if you think about it, like you think that the police are around to stop crimes from happening, but what really happens is the crime happens and then you call them and they show up later to write some paperwork about it. So they're not preventing things.
Right.
I know we have to like catch the bad guys afterwards, but again, that's afterwards.
Right.
If there's a prowler, maybe you call them and say, I think there's a prowler, and they catch someone outside of your house, but how many times does that happen? Or like it doesn't stop the intruder.
Yeah.
They show up later. So right.
Their job is to investigate. Like they definitely have a purpose. It's just that we have blown out that purpose to include every single thing that they couldn't possibly do. Harrison has a great story here. He said he had an episode in August and police were called in, and it was scary because he was in and out of it and going through a breakdown, and he saw the cop's face and was looking into his eyes and didn't know what would happen next. And it wasn't something he truly thought about until the Walter Wallace situation, how quickly something could go wrong. That's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying because you're in that moment in need of somebody who knows what to do for you in that moment. And that person doesn't know and hasn't been trained. And so, that reaction is not going to be like, it's not good for either person. It's not good at all.
Right. And you deserve the right treatment, no matter what you're going through. And also, there's a big problem with people become nonverbal sometimes, especially I've heard autistic people.
Yes.
When they're stressed and they're having an episode, they can become nonverbal. And so you're not going to answer an officer's questions. And so it escalates from there. They just don't it's so frustrating. The
other thing too, like when you listen to season, I talk about with my students so much when we covered this. I'm not covering it this year just because of the pandemic, but I might go back to it because now I'm missing it. But anyway, we talk a lot about like this particular season highlights the problems with the juvenile detention centers and how it's basically there's like a pipeline from from high school to juvenile detention centers, and like that they're the ones in Cleveland have been rehabilitated and they're still awful.
Yeah.
And so we talk a lot about like why is it not, and part of the problem is like if people are having problem in their community, they're supposed to be getting some sort of rehabilitation, but they're not, and then they're being released to their same community where their options are going to be limited. They're going to the same place where they had problems in the first place. And I'm like, we talked a lot about like why there isn't a place for them to go in their community where it's a place where they can, like, why aren't they learning trade skills or other important skills in juvenile detention? Like, instead of having idle time, instead of being punished, why not learn something that they can take back to their community and teach other people so that there's an option?
Right.
So you are part, and like, and there's a community center in the community that fosters that, so you can keep working on that trade or that skill, and have a place to go that's an alternative to, well, I'm just going back and I'm going to go back to the same friends and the same life, which was the problem for a lot of the kids, is that they would just go back and keep getting in trouble again. And I'm like, why isn't there something?
That goes back to the idea that the idea that the punishment and the repayment to society is time.
Right.
So it doesn't solve any of the underlying problems, doesn't address the underlying problems. You get released into where the problem is, and it's the same, but according to our system, you've done your time, and so everything's supposed to improve, but how can it possibly?
Right.
It's the definition of crazy, doing the same thing, expecting a different result.
Yes.
And an interesting fact I learned in Our Prisons Obsolete by Angela Davis, I think it was the 94 crime bill, but when it created all of this prison reform, it also, maybe it was after that, maybe it was another bill, there was all this prison reform that came down, and at the same time, it withdrew the funding for education in jails. So prisoners used to be able to get college degrees while they're in jail, and they can't anymore because the same program that like established mandatory minimum sentencing also defunded that program.
Yep. There's so many, there's, honestly, if you're truly interested in this, and like, again, I know nothing, I'm like a complete moron, but just listening to that one season of that podcast, you just hear things that like me, a dumb person, is like, I could come up with 5 solutions. And like, they might not work, but at least I'm trying. Like, it seems like they're just letting it go to shit because it affects brown kids or black and brown kids. And I'm like, well, that's why. I mean, that's the size of it, is because it's that whole pipeline, and that's a pipeline to prison. And you see it in the stories they tell. You see those kids going from juvenile detention to prison. Harrison said he did go nonverbal and he regressed, and it's funny. My word, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I went back so far. I truly couldn't remember anything past the age of 3. I just remember a lot of crying and being able, I think, not being able to communicate, right? Wow. So, yeah, I mean, and there's also like in that moment, Harrison's probably, I don't want to speak for him, but I'm sure there's fear and there's wanting somebody to know, and rightfully so, wanting someone to know what to do and how to help him. And then to be in a place where you could get killed for that is just unfathomable. But it goes back to caring about our fellow human beings. It comes to, do you really want to live in a world where people are taken care of and we do what we can to care about other people? Or do we just say, fuck off, every man for himself, don't tread on me, I'm a rugged individualist and you can't tell me what to do, and I don't care what happens to that person. But you know what? When you don't care what happens to that person and that person, that eventually when something happens to you, no one gives a fuck either. And that's the problem, is like, you have to care about what happens to other people. I cannot believe that that's not a thing that everybody has just a basic understanding about.
I know. We live in a society, not to be like,
like, how do you not care about people? It's so fucked up. I just
I do want to say to Harrison before we move on, I'm so glad
yeah,
that you are able to talk about what you
I
went through.
know.
That like you're through it enough because I'm so proud of you for all of the work that you did during that time,
Mhm.
and we love you very much. So
Mhm.
I just want you to know.
And look
Um,
where you are now, making shit happen on Etsy, right?
right, there was
It's great. It's all it's so good. I'm so happy that you're here and that you were
yes,
able to get through that and nothing the worst thing didn't happen because Jesus Christ.
yes, yes.
Um oh, so this is a weird segue, but this is like a very weird segue. But I was thinking I was so what working on my collages, I was there's a missing story that I've been wanting to tell for a while. Oh, that's not it. Oh, you know what? I put it on Trello. I used Trello.
Oh my God, on the Trello, amazing,
Harrison's in therapy and working on it. Amazing. Yay
amazing.
for therapy.
I'm also in therapy.
I
Great. Every time I tell Gina, like when we have our pep talks on here at the end of a stream, when Gina says, I feel bad about this thing, and I'm like, don't you dare. I do that knowing that I'm going to have the same exact conversation with my therapist, and it's going to be the other way around. So I'm basically giving you the therapy that I just got. My therapist is like, people's houses are dirty. It's fine. It's just fine.
Where did I
So
put this? Oh my gosh, what's wrong with oh, you know what? It's this on here. Sorry. I'm like talking to myself. Hi, I'm talking to myself.
I would like to say that my chili is delicious. Um, it has a lot of flavor, which I usually don't get in things that I make. It's very hot because I put extra cayenne in it, but I'm very excited about that. Yeah, it's the bacon, man. It's just like there's so much flavor. It's so good. It's so good. I'm so excited. Last time I made chili was bland. I'm happy. So I'm gonna eat this in front of you. I'll be like watching people eat. I'll be as nice as I can.
So, while you're enjoying your chili, I want to just this is a story I actually I just repeat myself constantly. This is actually a story I heard on True Crime Garage, and it was so memorable that I just never forgot it. And also, so this is the it's just a little missing story. It's a big missing story. It's a missing person story of a little boy named Dewan Sims. And honestly, the one reason I can't forget the story is because his the True Crime Garage, the way they did the story is unforgettable. But then also, he is like a model. He's 4 years old. He went missing when he was
Oh,
4,
baby.
and he looks like the most cherubic, sweet. Like he's got this huge smile. He's like so adorable. He looks like a model baby, and like you cannot forget his sweet face. Like once you see it,
Oh,
you just wish you could help him. Like that, he's so adorable. Like I can't get enough of him. So he was 4 years old at the time he went missing, which I'm sure you all know by now. That is like so young. It's a baby. I mean, I know it's not, but it's a baby. He was three
right.
feet tall and he only weighed 50 pounds.
Oh,
And he was last seen in Livonia, Michigan, which is in Wayne County.
okay.
He was born on October
Well, that's where
29th,
Detroit is. I heard
1990.
that because of the recounts.
What's that?
Because I was I know Wayne County is where Detroit is because I learned that because of the fucking
Oh,
recount.
right. Yes, the famous Wayne County. Uh, and he was born on October 29th, 1990, and has been missing since December 11th, 1994. The weird part of the story is that his mom the story is that his mom went to a security guard. His mom was Dewana Harris, and she was shopping at the Wonderland Mall with her son, and she said that they were walking together along a corridor between a Target store and the main area of the mall together at like 2:30 in the afternoon, and that he all of a sudden disappeared. Like she took her eyes off him for a minute and that he disappeared. And so, and I think it doesn't say it on the Charlie Project or on this other thing that I have, but I believe if I'm remembering the story correct, his grandmother also worked in the mall, so she showed up. But anyway, it was like a huge search for him. They did like everything they could to search for him, and he was like nowhere to be found. Well, then they go and they look at the
Oh,
store the store videotapes
I
to
was just gonna
see
ask
like
about it. Yeah. Okay.
anything. And what's weird is that Joanna Sims wasn't in the mall until 3 o'clock, not 2:30, and that there's no video of her son with her at any point.
Hmm.
And so they give her a polygraph. They give her two polygraphs, and she fails both. She swears that her son was with her, and that's how he went missing. But they've never been able to prove that her son was with her, and they've never found the child. A couple of years ago, I don't remember the year, a couple years ago, a man came forward and said that he was her son, but that was like a hoax.
Oh.
People do that. And her mom, she claims that she's been active in the search for her son all this time, and that her mom said that she's been devastated all this time. But the not, I would be suspicious of them not believing her if not for the video and the weird time. Like she had, I think it was like an hour that she showed up later than what she said, which is like that's a significant. Like if you say 2:30 and it's 2:45, even 2:30 and 3, but like to be an hour off is a little weird, and to have no video of the little boy is a little weird.
Yeah,
Then
that's
again, it's 1994. How good are the cameras? I don't know, but like I think there I believe that there was like not even like on any entrance video or anything. She was there and the boy wasn't.
Hmm.
So, I don't know how to feel about that. Like, I don't want to blame a mother.
Right. Right.
At the same time, somebody has to advocate for this adorable. I wish I could show you guys. Like, immediately look him up. He is the most adorable child. Like, he should have been in commercials. Um, I don't. So it's a very, very confusing one, and it's one that I think about all the time. What could have happened to him? Um,
Right. I don't know.
if
So
the
in 1994, I feel like that was more the era of cameras that would cycle around.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either.
No.
She claims to that it definitely was there. She does fail polygraph, but that's a mom in stress, so it could be either way. Like if my son was missing, I don't know if I'd pass a
Right.
polygraph.
And they're inadmissible in court.
Right. So I
And
don't
you
know.
know what? Um, maybe there's someone that she doesn't want to say that she suspects or can't say because it's too dangerous to say that is the reason she failed a polygraph test.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So obviously something happened to this little boy, and that's the sad part is that he gets lost in it because this story
Right.
has been sensationalized, and I think
Right.
about what happened to him all the time because like he could have disappeared in the mall and she's just not being believed, or something else could have happened to him and we will never know. And so it's hard to I think it's hard for it's hard to even investigate something like that because if it didn't happen at the mall, then like what happened and when, you know?
Right. Right.
She went on to leave the area, which some people think is weird. Like a lot of people think once
Wow.
if your kid goes missing, you don't leave. But some people need to leave. Like it's you can't judge what people do because you're not
Right.
them. Um, but definitely people are at minimum suspicious, at maximum thinks that she made it up. I'm sure I'm missing other details because it's been a while, and the Charlie Project is really lean on the details because they can't go into like a 3 hour
Yeah.
diatribe about it. But I remember when I heard it, when I heard that they didn't have any evidence, like no, oh, and also nobody remembers seeing the little boy, and like I'm telling you, the reason why that's why the reason why I bring that up is because he's so memorable. Like if you look at his picture, you'd be like, it would be hard to forget that you saw that little boy. Um, and for me, I'm like upset. Like a little boy came into a store I was in the other day, and I was like, he was so cute. I'm still thinking like, oh my god, that little boy. Which is creepy. It's creepy, but I'm a mom of a son. Little boys are cute. So I'm not going to kidnap them. I'm not a weirdo. Um,
So you don't act on your compulsion. Different than zero.
No, I just want to I just want to be their mom. I don't want to do anything creepy to them. I just want to be like, "Hey, can I be your mom for just like a half hour? I'll just like buy you toys and that's it. And then you go back to your parents." So nothing disturbing. But so yeah. So it's the fact that nobody remembers seeing him too is a little bit odd because
Yeah.
you would think that somebody would remember this like super adorable little kid.
Right.
So I don't know what I like. There's nothing really to say. Like it's hard to know, but it's definitely sad because I'm sure he fell prey to something.
Right. At the end of the day, he's not with his mom, and
Yeah.
so
Hmm.
that's sad. Even if she did something terrible to him, I don't know if I believe that, but even if that's the case, it's still sad that his mother is not someone he can be with.
I know.
It's sad. Yeah, it's so terrible.
What is the profile for someone who would kill their child? Is that usually a one-off? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's interesting because, and this is by no means scientific because this is what I've heard. Like the family annihilators, the people who kill the wife and the child, those are usually men. But the ones that kill just the children, those tend to be women, don't they?
That's
Or
like
at
the
least,
Andrea Yates, the Diane Downs.
yeah,
Some people think Darlie Reuter killed her kids. Some people think she didn't kill her kids. Casey Anthony, who was um,
acquitted.
acquitted, so we can't say that she did it, but she was accused of doing it. So who else? There's others.
Patsy Ramsey.
Who is it?
Patsy Ramsey.
Oh, Patsy Ramsey again. A theory. We don't want to say. Well, she's died,
They
but
were clear.
uh,
They were clear after she died. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah. So there must be a profile for it, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if they think their kids are stealing their spotlight. I don't know if they just get like sometimes it's postpartum. That's a different thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other times it's like they want attention or they think their kids are taking attention away from them or I don't know what it is. Cuz isn't it sort of similar to like Munchausen? Like that's a slow killing of your child,
Right. Right.
right? But that's a different profile. That's somebody who wants attention, right?
Right. Right. Ooh, yeah. I don't want to say if you're into Munchausen, but if you have not watched,
I love Munchausen. By proxy, love it.
oh, you love it. No, if you haven't watched The Act with Joey
No.
King, you
Mm-mm.
you have not. Oh my God.
I
Um,
watched Mommy Dead and Dearest. I watched that.
so Mommy Dead and Dearest is the amazing documentary that is based on this BuzzFeed article, which is also amazing. And The Act stars Joey King and I forget who else. And it's a fictionalized Hulu series about
Oh,
the
it's Patricia Arquette.
Okay, yes. Um, yeah, it's a fictionalized account of the documentary and the BuzzFeed article. It's amazing. The acting is amazing. The documentary is also amazing. That is a wild, wild story.
Oh, it's crazy. It's so uh it's there's so many layers to it.
Right. It's
I
easy.
recommend Mommy Dead and Dearest too. It's really good. That's
Yeah.
also an excellent
It's one of those
excellent.
ones where it's easy to come out of it not knowing where you feel like the moral center lies.
Mhm.
So, so good, so good. Basically, matricide, like this girl kills her mother, but the
Right.
mother had also been Munchausening her to death, like in insane ways, just absolutely, like lying about her age and the ability to what it's yeah.
The thing too that I think is weird is like how much time the daughter had to serve because I kind of feel like is she even really guilty of something? Like I mean, I get that she killed somebody. Oh, Harrison said we should watch Run. It's in the same vein as The Act.
Okay, we can look into that. If that's on Amazon Prime, we can do a watch party.
It's Hulu.
Okay, well we can watch it and talk about it.
Watch
Cool.
and talk. Watch and talk. Um, shit.
I'm watching, and this is also fictional, but it's true crime. The Flight Attendant on HBO Max. So good, so good, so good. Kaylee Cuoco, Michael Huisman, Dario Naharis from Game of Thrones. Oh, it's so good. She wakes up next to a naked dead guy and has to piece together the events of the evening.
Oh, kind of like the night of a little bit.
Kind of like the night of, and kind of like the Hangover, but and she's running. Oh, Shoshona from Girls is in it. She plays her lawyer, in a very showish way. And so a cool thing is it's like magical realism. So she goes into her head, and her head is the hotel room, and the guy is there, and they like talk through it together. So it's cool. So like when I first saw it, I was like, oh, Michael Eastman, you're gonna die in 10 minutes, and then it's the end of you. But like, no, you get more hot guy. So if you, it's like there's more hot guy after he dies.
I mean,
so don't fear not.
There's so much good entertainment. It's like, why ever do anything else ever? Will somebody just pay me to talk about murder all the time and watch murder stuff, please?
Harrison is doing his best. He's doing his best. Subscribing everyone to our channel.
That's so funny.
It's so funny that your brother got that gift subscription because he pays his own $5. He's your brother.
He's my brother.
It's
so nice of him. Like, yeah. So I did. This is a total story change. But speaking of people who do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Once again, the day after they picked up my trash, I threw out food, and my whole house smells so bad. But I feel like I can't put. You're not allowed to put your garbage can out unless it's trash day. But it smells so bad that I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like. It smells in my house now.
You know what I do when I have rotten food that's smelling up my fridge? I put it in a plastic bag and I put it in the freezer.
It didn't smell in my refrigerator. That's the thing. I just kept forgetting to throw it out. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw it because it was like all vegetables. I didn't know vegetables would smell terrible. Now it just smells like rotting flesh. It smells like I've killed someone and it's in my... in my garage. I'm sure it smells outside of my garage. It smells inside my house, and I have to live like this until Wednesday. I think Tuesday I'm going to take it out. Tuesday's my birthday, and I don't want to smell bad smells on my birthday.
Good.
So I have to live 3 more days. Why don't I learn? This is the same thing I do before I get in a car. I always drink like a whole thing of water, like this level of water while I'm driving, and probably a Coke. And then everywhere, or whatchamacallit. I used to do that, Joe. I used to leave it in the fridge until the next trash day, and I didn't do it because I kept forgetting. I'm an idiot. So then I always drink like 2 gallons of liquid while I'm driving, and then anywhere I go, I have to pee immediately. And like 5 times, I'm sure wherever I'm going, people are like, what is wrong with her? And I'm like, it's because I do these dumb things and I can't stop myself. Freezer is good. If I put it in the freezer, I would never remember to throw it out.
Set yourself a phone reminder.
It doesn't. I have the trash reminder from Alexa, and I still don't.
Well, that's Alexa, and as we both know, your Alexa's kind of a C word.
My Alexa is.
Put it on your phone. Put it in your phone so you have to turn it off.
You're right.
Set yourself up for success.
I wish Bodhi would. Yeah, like this is where I have an issue with my cat. My cats are wonderful, but I have an issue with them not being that helpful. Like, like they have really good lives, and the least they could do is like give me a hint about something.
There's a TikTok user that I came across because I'm very on spooky TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And the person who has a house ghost, and her TikTok is that she's just yelling at him that he's lazy and unproductive and doesn't get the one that I saw first, she's like, Jerry, it's time for you to start doing the damn dishes.
It's like, yeah, I need an assistant, and I don't mean like to do like important things. I mean to do ridiculous things like return phone call, give my grandma a call for me. Seriously,
No, not really.
Because like I love talking to my grandma. but I just forget to call. And then she feels bad, and then I feel bad that she feels bad, so I wait longer because that makes everything better. Waiting. I've learned that if you do something and you feel guilty about it, that if you don't handle it right away and you just let it simmer, it's
Very
like peak
good.
anxiety, which I
Yeah,
like love. I just love to just like, yeah, make it worse.
right.
Yeah, I need someone just to call my grandma and just tell her, you
This is
know,
why this is why fancy pants CEOs have personal assistants.
yes, to do all
They
that
don't
shit.
do
Like,
that on
to
their own.
just like remind me to do like dumb shit.
Yeah. It's not, yeah, it's not you. It's just that there's a lot to think about and things get missed. And that's why fancy people don't do that for themselves. They don't.
And it's true because like instead of thinking about things I should think about, I'm thinking about like what could replace the prison industrial complex. And then like I'm like coming up with ideas like no research at all, just my imagination. And that's what I'm working on in my brain instead of like, hey, it's
Well, I
trash.
mean, not to blow your mind, but you can ponder that while you take out trash.
I know I could, but why would I? Why
Why?
would I when there's CNN feed all of my stress doom
Right.
watching. Oh, my
Why?
brother said that he puts a physical I could put a physical note on the pail that goes outside. That's a good idea too.
That's a good idea too. Yeah. Set yourself up for success.
Set
You-
myself up for success. Bodhi,
This is
get
the
a
part of
portable
the street
phone.
where I therapy Gina. Because it's
I
getting towards the end.
I called the insurance and I was like, I need a therapist that actually takes your insurance,
Yep.
please. And then I had to leave a message, and then I left a message, and then she called me back, and then I had to call back. So I need to call back. This is again, if I had an assistant, they could just take care of this for me. Here's a list of places.
It's a struggle. Finding a therapist who takes your insurance is it's the
And then you
hardest.
have to like that person.
Exactly.
Which I think I told you I got into it like, and I'm not confrontational at all. And I got into an argument with the therapist because I didn't like the book she recommended, and she's so offended.
Oh
And I was
wow.
like,
Yeah, that's bad. That's
and I
bad.
was like, I don't have to like a book. She was like, well, you're the one that wanted a recommendation. I was like,
Well, it's
you
not going to work
asked
for
me if I
everyone.
wanted to borrow a book. I was just being like, not only did I borrow it, not only did she ask me if I wanted to borrow it, but she made a point of saying, if it's not your thing, no big deal. And then clearly it was a big deal. And
Wow.
she was like, well, how do you know you don't like? And I'm like, because I've tried to read it. Other people have recommended it, and I don't like that book.
Right.
Well,
Because
maybe it's you. Well,
but
maybe
like
it is me. Maybe it's me. Maybe
it's
I am
not
a shitty,
you.
shitty person.
No. I can you imagine? Can you like that is some mansplaining shit. To be like, are you sure you didn't like this book you read? Maybe you just don't know you didn't like this book you read. Like, bitch, I experienced it in my head. I know. I know that I didn't like that is some gaslighting shit.
No, and then like she was trying to do my intake information, and the computer kept freezing. She was like, well, maybe the computer doesn't like you. And I was like, we're done. We're done. And by the way, your Christmas pictures of your kids are really stupid, okay? Because I've been staring at them, and you've been putting them in graphic T-shirts and a Christmas picture. So you're done. Okay, gotta go. I've been judging your family this whole time. Done. Bye.
Yeah, you have to like your therapist because if you don't even a little, like, whew,
Yeah, that's
it,
why I stopped going to her. I was like, this is not gonna work
good,
out.
good.
Because you're a bitch. You're a
That's
bitch.
the right thing. That's the right thing.
She did give me one part of good advice one time where she was just basically like, um, you don't have to convince people to love you, they just will. But I was like,
That's a
it
big
hit
one
me
for me.
so hard. It hit me so hard because that's what I
Yeah.
try to do is make people like me. And then so I was like, wow, this is really gonna work out. And then next time she was like, you don't like my book, blah 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 blah. And then I was like, oh no, you're crazy. I can't. That was
Yeah.
just you only had one thing of good advice in you, and that was and you you spent it on the first session.
That is good advice, though. I struggle with that too, so I
Uh,
feel you.
yeah, it's like such a revelation to hear when you hear
Right.
that. Like people will just like you. You're just like, what? They will? They'll just like me.
It should be unconditional, and if you have to earn it, that's a condition. What?
All you have to do is be yourself.
Amazing. Amazing.
And then I really liked my other therapist, but she was just so expensive. I just couldn't afford it. And she wanted to see me like once a week, which is normal. It's normal. And it was $100 I was like, I can't do $400 a month. I can't.
Yeah.
That's like a car payment and a half.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll just walk around and be crazy. It's fine.
Oh no, you get free therapy from me. I just feel like it's like through my therapist, through me to you. It's exactly the same.
Just a quick question. Just asking for a friend, and she'll think it's you.
Like say I'm arguing with my ex-husband. My therapist would be like, "What are you talking about?" Say that my child says, like, are you trying to 2-for-1 me? All right, cool.
I had this idea. I shared it with my friend Sam. This just goes back to what we were talking about, like not knowing enough about prison stuff. But I was thinking a lot about how people don't know enough about civics, and it bothers. Even I don't. I mean, I don't, but I think I know more than a lot of people, or like the average person,
Right.
quote unquote. And it bothers me. And I was like, you know what I really want to do? I really want to make pamphlets because people don't read online. I just want to make pamphlets that have like one major point in it. Like, did you know that in the First Amendment to the Constitution, it says this, which means this? And then you just hand them out to people, and then people can learn about civics like easy breezy. That's my idea, anyway.
If people love anything, it's taking pamphlets from strangers.
It is. It is. But then, like, you would have these little, like, it wouldn't be where I was forcing them on people. It would be like I have them, and people would start to know, like, oh, I could learn something really fast. This is just this is my idea for changing society. And then last night on Colbert, they interviewed the guy who was fired from the Homeland Security for saying it was the most secure election ever, and he said one thing that would make people like feel better about elections and all this stuff stop is if people learned civics. Like he said, like adults and kids.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm going to bring out my pamphlet idea that I'll never do.
I just want to interrupt the story to say that I got a 5, which is the highest score on my AP government class and test in high school. So if you want to know about civics, you're both experts.
There you go. Look at that. Yeah. I read Twitter, so I'm good. Harrison said, that my therapist, or your therapist, that it would be a great Seinfeld episode. Are you trying to 2-for-1 me?
Yeah, right.
And then he said, it sounds like I'm going to how comic books people like on the bus and the L. We are going to help comic book people like on the bus and the L. Oh, help. I think I'm misreading that. But anyway, I don't know. I just feel like, how do you re-educate a whole body of human beings without sending them all back to school?
I know, and even schools. It's not like civics is not on the tests that you need to get your school's funding. So you have to do something else instead. It's very frustrating.
Yep.
I'm rinsing out my pot. That's where I disappeared to. My beautiful oven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're doing it all wrong. And if everyone just listened to us.
Yeah. Have we ever steered you wrong? Ever. In our 2 entire months of bi-weekly streaming.
She knows she's gonna tell you what it takes, but also she keeps forgetting to not throw her food out on a Thursday when the trash doesn't come till Wednesday.
She's not an expert in food safety. She's an expert in civics.
Yeah.
You can't do both. Mm-hmm. You can't do both. It's like how all those men who are geniuses have their mom do their laundry.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like I'm like I know a little bit about a lot. So I feel good just saying shit.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like I'm a complete idiot and people are like, "Oh my god, she knows nothing." But it's the confidence with which I'm sharing.
Just like a mediocre man.
Just like
Congratulations.
yeah, I've leveled up.
Aspire to that.
Oh, Harrison was talking about those religious comic books about people who go to hell. Like, yeah, I get,
Oh,
yeah. See that people hand those pamphlets out all the time. What?
right.
Imagine if you got one and you were like, "Oh, this is another Jesus pamphlet," but instead it was like told you about the First Amendment or told you about like why we vote the way we do, and you'd be like, all right, I don't hate this.
Oh,
Um,
so like tracks, but for politics.
yeah.
Specific. Okay.
Just to like inform people, like election not fixed. Just
No.
FYI, FYI, everybody.
He really for real lost.
And
He did. He did.
it's okay to lose. How about ones that just like are just like little like motivational but not like aspirational.
Right.
So just like it's okay to lose.
Right. Say that you were wrong about, for example, COVID. It's okay. You can just change your mind.
Do you know how many times I'm wrong? Like the stuff
So
like
many
that.
times.
Yeah. That you don't have to be the best. You don't even have to be like fifth best. You could be bad at something. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to be humble. This
Yeah.
is why, yeah, this is like, yeah, just a little like life lessons for people.
That's where they come to us.
That's why, yeah, that's why. I mean, it's not about the crime, really. It's just, it's about more, so much more. It's all of my
It's
brilliance.
about the growth we experienced along the way.
Meanwhile, I'm a complete dummy, so.
Well, no, it's good. It's good to know. And I feel it too, and that's the way that I approach like all performing and when I was on the radio and everything. Like I'm going to show you what's imperfect because that's real.
Yeah, Cecilia just shared a thing today, and it was I don't know if it was real, but it was a Kurt Vonnegut quote.
Oh yeah,
And
I saw
yeah,
that.
about like you don't do things to be perfect at them, you do them to just do them. Yeah, like you don't have to win at everything. You just have to
Right.
enjoy it. And it's
And
true. It like I was like, "Oh my god, this is genius."
right. And to modernize it, you don't have to monetize it. You don't have to make money from your hobbies. Please subscribe to our channel.
Yeah.
No, like, but so it's something that I had to learn because as a person in a creative profession, I've said this before. My hobbies were also my job, and all of my hobbies related to my job and were were there to monetize and upgrade my job. And now, like, I'm taking voice lessons, but I'm taking them just because I like it.
Yeah.
And that had to be something I had to sit myself down and be like, you're not going to monetize this. That's not what this is for. This is to do just because you like it. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, to like not expect to be perfect at everything is a huge and important lesson I think for
yeah,
everybody. And
yeah.
like I'm not particularly good at anything. And I'm not saying that to be like want. I'm just saying like I'm okay at a bunch of stuff. And maybe that's okay. Like, you know what I mean? I was always frustrated that I wasn't going to be better. And now I'm like, who cares?
I
I'm
know.
okay.
So I spent my life as like the straight A student, the lead in the play, the first chair flute, the scholarship recipient, like the valedictorian. And now I'm like, I'm allowed to do stuff just because I like it. Like what is this?
See, I was none of those things. Like complete moron, dunce
It's hard
person,
to come down from.
undiagnosed ADD, didn't know what the hell she was doing, didn't have a clue in the world about what she wanted to do, didn't have any direction, like all that shit. And
Oh,
just
no.
like love to like because of I guess my ADD, loving to just try everything in the world and trying things and failing at them miserably and then like blaming myself for being like why are you so bad at everything? And
Oh,
then like now it's like realizing like you don't have to be great. Like you just have
right,
to have fun at it.
right,
Like I love this. I mean, of course, I'd love to have like more subscribers and followers and all that, and like that comes with hard work and time.
right.
But at the end of the day, it's I also just get to do it every week, and that's amazing.
Exactly.
It's fun.
Exactly. Yeah, the only time one fails at something is when they keep doing something they don't like and don't have to do.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I quit piano at age 6. My mother was so upset.
Aw. Piano's not for everybody.
Yeah. Now I wish I could play piano, but whatever. Well, my cat's climbing the walls to ask for his drive.
Oh, it's time. I didn't realize it was so late.
It's
We
fast
talked
time.
a lot. We did it all.
I'm glad. We did a lot. Also, my bra has expired.
Your bra?
My bra has expired. Okay. When I'm doing this, I'm actually trying to stuff the underwire back in because it's come out. You know when that happens? When it comes out and it pokes inside? Because I was like, it's a pandemic. Let me just put my bras in the dryer. I don't care anymore. Society is everything. There's anarchy. There's no. So of course now all my underwires are like sneaking out. So I thought I had a solution, but I didn't, and I haven't sewed it closed. So I'm trying.
Oh yeah, I know the stage you're in. You're in denial.
I'm being stabbed in the side.
Yeah.
Right
No,
now.
it's time. Yeah, no, I'm not drying mine because I hate. I shouldn't mind spending money on bras, but I don't like it. I feel like it's such a waste. Like it's not a waste of money, but it's just like money that's not I don't enjoy spending.
Right.
So I just want them to last as long as possible, so I don't have to like just go out and buy like 10 pairs of the same style, the same beige one, and just like, yeah, I'm not exciting. I'm very boring.
Okay, so let's wrap so I can stop getting stabbed. So we'll be back on Tuesday, and it's Gina's birthday.
It's my birthday, and I'm telling a big story. I think it might be a 2-parter because every which way I'm trying to break it down. It's long. It's a long story.
Great, that's great. We'll do a 2-parter. Amazing.
And it's a serial killer that I have become a little bit obsessed with, but not in like the unhealthy way. I'm just so fascinated by how terrible somebody could be.
Okay, cool. So yeah, Tuesday at 7. We'll see you again.
Yes, tell your friends.
Yes,
it's my birthday.
Yeah, if you have someone that likes true crime, if you could tell them about this stream, that would be super awesome because we're trying to get it exposed to as many people as possible because I don't know a lot of other people that do this, like interactive. Yeah. We all listen to podcasts, but we can't talk with the podcast. So that's why we decided to do this way. And follow so you get an alert when we're live. Subscribe. You can do that for free with Amazon Prime, and it does not cost you anything, but it supports the channel. Have an awesome weekend.
Yep.
Enjoy it. Do things that are only for fun.
Yep.
If you can. Stay safe, wear your mask. We love you, and take care, I guess.
We'll see you Tuesday. Bye.
Bye. Turn us off. I have to leave to turn us off, but here I go. Okay.